How can we have feudalism in the United States? Well, from the very beginning of the United States until the late 1970s, feudalism was practiced in white households. And what do I mean by that? Well, in feudalism, one person, formerly the feudal lord, owned the land, and the serfs worked on that land and gave the lord a portion of what they produced, the larger portion, and kept just enough to barely survive and reproduce, enriching the lord with their labor. Well, in the usual U.S. household, what's called the traditional U.S. household, the male has the house or apartment in his name, and the woman worked to create cleanliness, cooked food, child care, sexual services, emotional services, and the social services of connecting that man to his relatives, to his children, to his friends, by inviting them to the house and entertaining them. That system was considered the traditional family, and it was an American family, and no one analyzed it in class terms. But of course, it was a class system of feudalism. It wasn't really, even in 1925, any work that women did that earned anything, the monies had to be given to their husbands. The only money they were allowed to keep was for rural women who were allowed to keep the money they sold from making butter and eggs that they sold or bartered with each other. Everything else, any salary they got, belonged to their husbands. And that's why in the traditional marriage vow, the man loves to honor and cherish, he vows to honor and cherish, and the woman to honor and obey. Very different kind of status. And that system exists even now in some sectors. So, for example, in the Orthodox Hasidic Jewish communities and in the Orthodox Catholic community, women are to be in charge of hearth and home. Women are to be subordinate to men. That's even so in the largest Protestant sector, which is the Southern Baptist sector, where women are to be subordinate to men, and men are to be protective of women, and women are not allowed to be in any position dominant of a man. They're not allowed to be the president of a company in which men are employees. They are to keep themselves in a subordinate position. So that those tenets of feudalism to keep women in their lower place serving men are still a strong part of our society. Feudalism is still alive in our country. It's alive in the taught subordination of women in the household. Because even though our country was supposedly started as a country independent of feudalism, and it was politically independent of feudalism, and it did not have feudal lords and serfs, women were economically in the position of being feudal serfs in the household when they married a man. And unmarried women, who were considered failures because marriage and childbearing were a woman's destiny, and just like the serfs, whose birth meant that they were destined to be serfs, women's gender identity as female meant that they were destined to serve men.